Do you have a do you have a section there? Excuse me. Do you have a section there that is your men's wall, or what was the
Well, I have it all dispersed.
what,
In this room, I have sensualities, and then I have in the same room landscapes and cityscapes. My concept was that the sensual image is structured around the human body and the acts thereof.
Right.
A landscape is just the opposite. It evokes emotion, and usually you don't see any humans at all. So here's two things that evoke, and they are the exact opposite of each other. One is always going to have the human body just right in your face, and the other doesn't have it at all, and yet it still creates a feeling. So I have in this room very, very explicit sensual imagery, and yet I have also landscapes, and people kind of like, they just come and look and they get excited and so forth, but they don't get that shock of just a room filled with human bodies embraced and all different types of things. Is that I make innuendos with the artwork. I think about it. It's not necessarily I want to just show you directly, but just allude to it, you know, and then have something that is pretty direct right next to it, so forth. So,
well, I think that makes it more interesting for the visitors you have,
right.
for the person who's coming to see the art.
Yeah, and then I'm a homosexual, but I have imagery that deals with the females and their sensualities and so forth. So it's not just to present just from the male side. So I want to mix it up, because it's all about sensuality.
What do you call? It's more than an apartment. What is it?
At the moment, well, I am taking legal action to create a trust so that the collection will go into the future, and my organization will be the trustee, and the instructions are for them to replicate this space.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's my instructions. Is that you can have this, you can have all of this and the condo, and I want you to, because that's when I'm in the process of documenting everything, and eventually I will be documenting exactly where everything is, so that we can reconstruct a space just like this place and put everything back up just as it was. Because what I'm seeing is the most important thing is to people to come into this environment. It's like an installation, is that to see all of this together. Because what you said earlier, the museums preserve things, but they don't preserve it the way the collector had it. And the collector has got something special about the way they put these things together that is an artwork in it of itself. Is that I'm an artist creating this environment that people come in and they say, oh, wow. Is that take these same pieces and distribute them in a museum, it doesn't have that same effect.
It doesn't have the same effect. But it's an interesting concept, because the only thing missing will be you, but you will be all over the place. Do you know what I mean? You will be everywhere, but physically absent. It will be a strange idea, strange concept.
Yeah, that's
so
what I want.
Visiting will miss you. Can you imagine? I mean, because it will be so much you, but you're not there. Wow, that's kind of quite powerful.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. In fact, you can see this is my bed, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm going to show you. This is what is looking at my bed. Do you see that?
Right.
Most people freak out. They said, number one, how can you how can you go to sleep with this looking at you? I said, that's easy, it's nothing. And then look, you see that?
Oh, wow.
That you said that.
I mean, there must be, you must have all kinds of memories in this place, Patric.
That's all it is.
Isn't there like, but it must be, it must be filled with ghosts, in a sense. You must look
A
at things
ghost
and think,
suggests
I remember
a sort of
X, or I remember.
a ghost in the concept to me suggests a death. It's filled with life. I'm
Right.
keeping these things alive, as opposed
Right.
to that they're dead. They're keeping these things alive. These are living spirits in the sense of dead spirits.
But during this pandemic, isn't it lonely?
No, it isn't. I don't have a television.
Right.
And
I remember that.
This is my television.
Clearly.
It keeps me in comfort during this time period. I think I would, if I had bare walls, they would already have found my dead body, rotting up in here. They're like, no, no. I'm not lonely in here. I'm actually stressed out because I haven't been able to touch anybody. But lonely is not the descriptor, right, of that. So let me show you a couple of things.
No, please do.
And this is my little altar.
Is that to the altar to the female form? Or oh, no. I see Buddha.
It's not to the female form. It's to everybody.
It was. I think I was referring to what's in the background, against the wall, rather than on the altar itself.
You see this?
Very nice. Yes.
Again.
Rude.
Nah. So that's what, in these kinds of things where you are
I like that.
Alluding to the relationships of people.
I see with the green and orange t-shirt couple. The two men. Yeah, that's subtle. It's subtle, but it's there.
It's very subtle. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then Tiger Woods.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's what his downfall was, all that sexual excess.
Right.
So you see it just dripping off of him.
Yes.
And this.
That's nice too.
Mm-hmm.
It's very moody.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there before. I've walked up on that kind of a person.
Well, I doubt there's any kind of person you haven't walked up on.
You would be correct. You would be correct.
Which is why I'm thinking that these 3 or so months in quarantine must be a real challenge for you.
It is. You see the stained glass?
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Yep. These are the types of things, like, they're subtle. All of a sudden people say, "Oh, wait a minute, that's a nude man." I say, "Yeah."
Is he actually nude, or is he wearing some kind of budgie smuggler? Oh, no, that's a nude man.
In stained glass.
In stained glass. Very nice too.
Mm-hmm. So these are the types of things that I'm doing to speak about sensualities without hitting you over the head. Like this Taurus. I don't know. Can you see the Taurus?
Yes. What's that crawling on him? Is it what is that? Has it got a tail or?
Yep.
Oh, he's got a tail. Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
A tail at the
Now,
back and one at the front.
yeah. Yes.
You know, as much as I love the bust, I don't think I could live with that in my face, because, you know, sometimes when I get up maybe to go to the toilet at night and I, you know, see the shadow of this thing sitting there, I think it might make me scream or jump or, you know,
That's what everybody
something.
says.
Because it's so real.
It is, but it's so comforting to me. I know other people say the same thing. It's easy for me.
Have you ever lived with someone in that space? Have you lived, you know, for any length of time with someone in that space?
No,
What
nobody.
about the previous space? The previous space you were in?
I've had in other places, I've had people for a couple of months or so, but I'm not really kind of made for living with other people. What you can do, you said like you could work by yourself, be at home and so forth. I can't do, but I can't live with other people. I just find it very difficult.
Why in particular? Because of them? Because of you? Because of what?
I think because of me. I think that my personality basically wants to have the space to reflect me. And I would have a harder time giving over like half of the space to somebody else's way of they would want it organized, look, have their control of how you function in it and so forth. I want my space to be completely the way I want it. Right. So I recognize that that's a characteristic of me that would not be conducive for sharing the space. Whereas I love having company. I love having people around, but I have them in my space.
And you can put them out when you want to.
Exactly, and I have done so.
We will
many times.
Multiple times.
Yep. I've said, I'm the only one that can clown up in here. You got to go.
So tell me, have you had a long-term relationship?
I'm in a long-term relationship right now.
With yourself or with your aunt?
No, with Troy, my buddy in the Bronx. We have been together. We've been together now 20 years.
Oh wow! I never knew that.
Oh yeah.
You keep that very quiet, or not?
It's a strange thing. So it's a relationship, and it's very strong, but it's not based on any of the things that I thought that I would have a relationship based on. Number one, it's not based on sex. Is it as highly sexual as I am? I have been attracted to somebody that is the exact opposite of me.
That's challenging.
Well,
so where do you find the outlet for?
I'm sorry?
So I was going to say, where do you find the outlet for your, you know, your sexual
well,
appetite?
Up until getting very, very old, I found it the same place I've always found it. Is that I recognize that our relationship is not based on sex, and therefore it's not structured around a fidelity in that area. That's not what our relationship is. It's a very strong relationship though. And he's also a writer, and has been a playwright. I like that in him. He's a very interesting. I enjoy listening to him. He lives in the Bronx right now. He used to be here. In fact, he lived in my apartment after I left, after I moved out. The one you went to?
Right. I remember the name. I remember the name Troy. I don't believe I've ever met him.
Oh, you would remember if you met him.
Okay.
You would definitely remember him.
What age group? What age group is he?
He is 58, 59, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's up there now. He's finishing a book right now. That's why he's in New York and doing that. And I'm just like, okay, go on, do what you do.
Good.
But no, I've been I know what a long-term relationship is like. I know what that's like. And it was kind of amazing because I never thought I would be in one. And I recognized I can do it. It's just, it can't be based on the same thing that most people think that it's based on.
Right.
Is that once you recognize who you are and what constitutes a relationship for you, and then you're like, okay, I can do this. I can do this all day long.
I remember we were talking about how men can have, you know, a complete relationship, if you like, in a very condensed amount of time. So you might spend 24 hours with someone and you've gone through the full, you know, gamut of what a relationship is. Tell me more about that and how you see that yourself.
I have had that so often in my life. And I read about it after having been well into having these things. I read about it in a book. And this sex researcher, C.A. Tripp, he had a whole section in the book about it. And I said, I've done this. I have been in this, where you are out in an environment, and it could be like a cruising environment, so forth, and you have this sort of, usually starts out with a sort of a visual connection with a person. You see them, they see you. There's possibilities that is usually transmitted non-verbally at first.
Yeah.
And then you kind of bump through a situation where there's an introduction. You start to communicate an interest. There's usually a situation where let's go have a cup of coffee or tea or a drink or something like that. And you go to some place and you have an elevation of the interest and the conversation, but you don't know, it's completely different from what goes on today, where the role concept is not firmly established of what's going to happen if we should go further. We don't know what that would be. But the interest is established. It could bump up even in that early stages to going beyond just having a drink, maybe even going, let's have a meal, you know. And then let's go to either one of our places, and you are introduced to the space, or you are hosting the other person to enter your space. You try to make them comfortable, and then there's sort of the little foreplay that leads to the fondling and you move, especially, you know, you drink and you might be smoking. It leads into much more physical contact. The whole removal of clothes. It's not the concept where you just go into somebody's home and you immediately strip and you get busy. It's that it grows until now all of a sudden you are actually into form of sexual activity that can get higher and higher and higher, because again, the role concept has not been established. So
Right.
you're exploring, experimenting, and you are feeling each other out, and all of a sudden you start to get to certain things that you really get, and it just gets higher and higher and higher. More than likely spend the night, have this group, all during the night, having increasing exciting experiences, especially, you know, you have a climax, and then instead of the sort of immediate cessation, you go kind of slowly back into another situation, and it just grows and grows.
Relax, chill, maybe eat.
Well, till you pass out, wake up in the morning, then you continue. You might even have something in the morning, go into a breakfast kind of a thing, and there's a satisfaction. And you can even exchange information about how you're going to get back together and so forth. But there's a satisfaction that you recognize it might never happen again. Never
Are
happen.
you describing?
You go.
Are you
Huh?
Are you describing a traditional, well, a probably untraditional one-night stand? Is this, you know, why does that differ from what happens now on, you know, various websites that we could name?
Because
Is there
it is.
is there a difference?
Yes, almost certainly. The website is that there are two parties that are clearly looking for something very, very specific, and they know that it will be there's a start and a stop. And also, they even know what's going to happen and how, and they are even prepared to kind of rate it. This is not that at all. This is not that at all. One of the people, because I know he's dead, I can speak about it. One of the people that I know I've had this type of situation with was Essex Hemphill.
Right.
Is that we met like that, and we went through the whole thing where he was reciting poetry. It was very romantic, just the whole total. And then we part, and we've always been friends ever since, but never did it again.